Hey guys, welcome to M&MM Ielts. Today I am going to cover a very important topic of listening section. This topic is an average topic, I would say, not a very easy topic and not that difficult. Definitely you should prepare this well because it is a scoring topic. I would say it's very easy to score marks in this topic because if you have practiced, it will be fine for you in the exam. So let's get started with this topic and let's understand what it is, all right? Labeling. This is a common term, labeling. Now, what can you get in labeling? A plan, a map, or a diagram. You can get any of them, all right? Now, in the simplest possible way, how can we understand what does this topic actually mean? Let us go back a few years. We all went to school, we studied science and many other subjects. A simplest example, let's say we've all drawn this at some point in our school life, right? You all would agree with me. Now, this is a picture. Let's say this is a diagram, okay? Now, let me put a few arrows so that we know that, and there will be numbers like this 1 2 3 4 5 and all done, okay? So a diagram or a picture will be given to you. They will want you to label a few places, which obviously will be highlighted by giving them all a number like this, as you see 1 2 3 4 5. So you know that your job is to label these 5 places, all right? Now the good thing is that, and you should write this down, the audio, this means parallel, or you can say alignment with the blanks. The audio will always be in alignment or will always be parallel to the blanks given to you. What does this mean? It means that because you have number 1 here, number 2 here, number 3 here, number 4 here, and number 5 here, you have to follow the same order. In the audio, you will never see that they will first talk about point number 4 or point number 3 and then they will go back to point number 1. No, never. This is never going to happen. They will always talk something about point number 1 first, then point number 2, then point number 3, then point number 4, and then point number 5. So when you get the answer of point number 1 from the audio, your brain should know that at any given moment, you have to have the answer for point number 2. Once you get the answer for point number 2, you know that now you will at any second get the answer for point number 3. Once you get the answer for point number 3, now you know that you will get answer for point number 4 and then point number 5. So this is a good thing that this has to be in alignment. So what is that technique that you should keep in mind? Be very attentive while listening and always follow the pattern, because let's say this is my diagram, okay? Your options can be inside the picture, your options can be outside the picture. Doesn't matter if it is outside or if it is inside. The technique still remains the same, and that technique is no matter whatever amount of blanks you have, the order will always follow basis of the numbers they have 1 2 3 4 5. So listen to the audio, start putting the answers here based on what the options are given, okay? Comparatively, I would say this is an easy question as compared to MCQs because the options are very straightforward and small. You don't have to read a lot of stuff. They are not very complicated. So you can get a diagram like this or a plan or a map. Now, when I say plan or a map, what does that mean? So first they will say that on the leftmost corner of the house is the bedroom 1, something like that. And let's say you have bedroom 1 here in the option, which says A, B, C, D, E. So D is bedroom 1. You know that D should come here. 1 is D because they said bedroom 1 is in the leftmost corner of the house. They'll say the place which is there with the kitchen is the dining room. Let's say dining room was here. So you know C is dining room, you'll put C here. You don't have to write down the entire answer. You just have to write down the options A, B, C, D, E in your paper. So that's why it's okay if you don't know the spellings, and if you are someone who misses the spelling even after looking at it, you don't have to worry about it over here. So in this way, I feel this question is easy, but at the same time, they will also talk a lot about content which is not mentioned in the picture, just to confuse you. So if they are describing something about which is what is not mentioned in the picture, just relax, take a deep breath, don't confuse yourself, just wait for the content that is there in the picture, and you have to write it down accordingly. Okay. Now we all know that listening has four parts: part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Now it is called part. Earlier it used to be called sections. You can have this question, which is plan, map, or any labeling related thing, diagram, in any part. You can have it in any part. Don't just expect it to be a part of any certain part. No, you can get it anywhere in the listening section. So just wanted to update you with that one. Now let us do an actual question and see how we need to tackle this type of question. Now if you have a look here on your screen, I have this question, which is again a labeling question, very clear. It says label the aluminium can. So I know that this is labeling question. I would say diagram labeling, and it says no more than 3 words for each answer. Now if you have a look, there are no options. That's the reason I selected this IELTS real exam question, sample question. There are no options in this case, which means it is comparatively difficult than questions which have options, because if you have options, you've already read them, you know what words to expect in the audio. Here I have not I don't have any options, so I don't know what I will get in the audio. So first things first, I have to write down the complete answer. Second thing, I have to be mindful of the spellings, because over here I don't have anything called A, B, C, D options, and I cannot use them. I actually have to write down the literal word, which means I need to be careful of the spellings and everything. Okay. So we have 5 questions here: 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. This is 31. Okay. Again, I will share the same thing. First, I will get something related to 26. Then I will get something related to 27. Then 28. Then 29. Then 30. And then 31 at the end. Let's start this question.
What I thought was that we could do a large picture of a Coke can and label it, and then talk about the different parts. Look, I've done a rough picture here.
Okay, so where shall we start?
Well, the lid is complicated. Let's start with the body first. I'll do a line from the center of the can, like this, and label it body. What does it say?
It's made of aluminium, of course, and it's thicker at the bottom.
Right.
Alright. The reason I've paused it is just to explain you along with the audio. See how they confuse you? We all know that 26 is here, right? So our first answer should be something related to this place, which is body, where they have already labeled the body word, and they will say something related to body, which we have to write. But the first line that guy said was, well, the lid is complicated. So automatically you will go towards the lid, because you know this is called lid. But no, don't do that. It's a distractor. It's just there as a trap to, you know, divert your attention. Never do that. And then he said that, okay, let me talk about the body because the lid is complicated. So he said the center part, I label it as body, which he has already labeled. And then the lady said that it is thicker at the bottom. Now they haven't used the exact same word, which is base. She said bottom, but we know that thicker at bottom and thicker at base is the same thing. Base and bottom is the same thing. So they might use synonyms as well. Very easy synonyms, not very difficult ones. So be very careful. Don't just wait for the word base blindly, and then if you think that, okay, I will hear something related to base and only then I'll get my answer. No, you might get something, some word which is not exactly the word base, but something related to the word base. So she said thicker at base. So that's how I got my answer, thicker. Let's move on.
Right, so that it can take all that pressure.
And then I think you should draw another line from the body for the label.
Right, label. The aluminium is ironed out and...
So she said you have to draw another line from the body and label it as label. So now here we have to label something. As you can see, the description is given, we need to label it. And then he said label. He repeated it for you. This is kind of an indication. When they repeat it deliberately, that can be your answer. I have seen this in a lot of audios. If they are spelling a word, or if they are if they are repeating it twice or thrice, that is kind of an indication that, boss, that's the answer. Okay, next.
Until it's so thin that it produces, what does it say?
A reflective surface suitable for decoration.
That's right. Apparently it helps.
So now they have described the description of the word label.
Helps advertisers too.
Yes, because it's so attractively decorated.
Good. And then there's the base.
Yes, it says the bottom of the can is shaped like a dome so that it can resist the internal pressure.
Very easy. There is no explanation needed for this. We know that she said there is base and then the bottom shapes like a dome. So dome is the answer. Simple. Now we know that next is 29.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Nor did I. Okay, so going up to the lid, there are several things we can label here. There's the rim around the edge, which seals the can.
Got that. And there's a funny word for the seal, isn't there?
Yes, it's a flange.
What does it say about it?
Well, the can's filled with Coke or whatever, and after that the top of the can is trimmed and then bent over to secure the lid.
That's right. It looks like a seam. We could even do a blow-up of it, like this. Flange.
Yes.
See how they described the spelling just to give you a little bit of help? That's very good thing, I believe. They have literally given you the spelling of the word flange, and she was very clear that at the top there is a rim. So obviously rim is already labeled, so we don't need to label it. This is again a label, and then she started describing about this part. If you pay attention, if you reverse the audio, you'll see that she started describing the part, and then she said it's called flange, and that's how the guy started giving the spelling of that word. So attention, again attention.
That would be clearer. I think we should label the lid itself and say that it constitutes 25% of the total weight.
Very easy, 25% of the total weight. This was exactly same word that you have in the audio, was the same word you have on your screen, on your paper. So very easy, 25%. So now I know I have to wait for the last option.
25%? So it's stronger than the body of the can.
So to save money, manufacturers make it smaller than the rest of the can.
Didn't know that either. So, how do we open a can of Coke?
First of all, there's the tab, which we pull up to open the can, and that's held in place by a rivet.
I think that's too small for us to include.
I agree, but we can talk about it in the presentation. We can show the opening, though.
That's the bit of the can that drops down into the drink when we pull the tab.
Yeah, hopefully. Sometimes the tab just breaks off.
I know.
Anyway, the opening is scored so that it pushes in easily but doesn't detach itself.
Okay. We can show that by drawing a shadow of it inside the can. Like this. I'll label it scored opening. Great.
Everything was described by them. The opening, the shadow, this is the shadow. And then he said, I'll label it as scored opening. So have patience and wait for the answer. It's not that because they are talking, you have missed your answer. No, have patience. You'll get your answer at some point. This is labeling, so you have to wait for that answer, which is actually the label. If the label is given, for example, I'll give you some example over here. body. If the label is given, then they might expect you to answer some word in the description of the label. And if the description is given, for example, here the description was given and we had to label the diagram. Okay, so again it all comes down to a point where one thing is very important, that 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 and 31, I'll get the answer in that same order, number one, so I don't need to worry about the order. Second thing is, listen to the audio carefully, what they are saying. Whatever they are saying, is it there on the paper diagram, and if yes, then write it down. Be very careful of the words that are repeated, label the words like flange where they spell the words, they might be your answer, so be very very careful of them. So I hope it was very easy to understand this topic. I would recommend all of you to practice a lot of questions related to map labeling, diagram labeling, plan labeling, and I'm pretty sure that you'll easily smash this topic and you'll get a very good score in exam. With that, I'll take your leave and see you next time in the next video. Bye for now.